What rep range to use in your training sessions is an interesting topic. One camp says to train with mostly heavy weights and low repetitions to maximize progressive overload, while another camp says to train with mostly 10 or more repetitions to feel the muscle burning and have a good mind-muscle connection. What if I told you that both have a point, and that we want to maintain a variety of rep ranges depending on what muscle you are training? First, let's look into some hard research on rep ranges. Because in the past decade, many studies have been done comparing different rep ranges and their impact on muscle growth. In one study, the researchers had one group training with 3 repetitions per set while the other group trained with 10 repetitions per set. When training volume was matched between the groups, muscle growth progress was the same. Another famous rep ranges study is by Schoenfeld and colleagues, in which they made the participants train with 25 to 35 repetitions to failure or 8 to 12 repetitions to failure. Again, muscle growth was the same in both groups. In essence, it seems that as long as you train to muscle failure and match training volume, you can gain muscle with a wide spectrum of rep ranges. This is supported by a recent literature review as well. With that said, many of these studies analyze the effects of only using one narrow rep range, while a case could be made that different muscle groups can be better trained with different rep ranges. If we look at the structure of a skeletal muscle, we can broadly categorize muscle fibers into 2 types. We have a type 1 or slow twitch muscle fibers and type 2 or fast twitch muscle fibers. Type 1 muscle fibers are resistant to fatigue but aren't very powerful, whereas type 2 fibers have more power potential but fatigue quickly. There's emerging research showing that we can preferentially target type 1 and 2 muscle fibers by training in different rep ranges. This would indicate that training with both low and higher repetitions in your training is beneficial for muscle growth. Also, there is promising research showing that combining different rep ranges helps more advanced trainees gain strength faster in their workouts. Basically, instead of only training with 3 to 6 repetitions per set or only doing 10 to 12 repetitions per set, perform both. We know that as long as you train to muscle failure, you can maximize muscle growth with a wide variety of rep ranges. But when you combine different rep ranges into one training program, that's where extra benefits are obtained. This brings us to a training system known as undulating programming. Oftentimes, when people want to improve an exercise like the bench press, they just train in one rep range, let's say 10 repetitions per set, and then they do their best to lift more weight while doing 10 repetitions. This works in the beginning, but eventually you hit a wall. You want to practice with both low and higher repetitions to help you progress in the long term. In the example of the barbell bench press, let's say you perform the barbell bench 2 times per week. Instead of having a 10 repetition bench press 2 times per week, let's have one day at 5 repetitions and the other day at 10 repetitions. This will help you more effectively train different fitness qualities. At 10 repetitions, your muscle endurance is challenged more, making you have increased muscle blood flow and improve the oxygen extraction capabilities of your muscles. Essentially, your muscles become more endurant and have better long-term recovery capabilities when you train with higher rep ranges. While at 5 repetitions, you improve your skill with lifting heavier weights, promoting better neuromuscular adaptations that help you recruit more muscle fibers. In the long run, training in lower repetitions will also help you make faster increases in weight because you better challenge your strength capacity when training at 5 repetitions. So by training in a variety of rep ranges, you get the full spectrum of fitness benefits that will help you gain more muscle over time. For optimal muscle growth, we want to increase muscle endurance and muscle strength in the same training program. Just think about muscle growth training. We need both fitness qualities. We need good muscle endurance to tolerate high volume workouts, but we also need good muscle strength to place high amounts of tension on the target muscle group. This also explains why undulating repetitions has been found to produce better muscle growth compared to just training in one rep range over a 9-month training period. So do not have a rigid adherence to just one rep range, but be open to training in different repetition zones. Let's now discuss how to apply undulating repetitions in your program and how I incorporate this training system in the workouts of my clients. For every major muscle group, I recommend that you have one key exercise that you keep consistent long term. For the legs, this may be squats, for your chest, this may be bench press, and for the back, this may be pull-ups. Because these are the fundamental exercises in your workout routine, we typically also practice these exercises 2 times per week. We can apply the undulating programming by having one day at a strength rep range, like 4 to 6 repetitions, and the other day can be more endurance focused by training in an 8 to 10 rep range. The lower repetitions allow you to practice lifting heavier weights, resulting in better progressive overload, while with the moderate to high repetitions, you can better train your muscle endurance, improving your body's recovery capability and fatigue tolerance in the long term. This is how I increase my squat, bench press, and weighted pull-up strength personally. One day is at a lower rep range with higher reps, while the other day is at higher repetitions with lower weight. Another way to apply training in a variety of rep ranges is to make a distinction between compound and isolation exercises. In your compound exercises, you may train with 5 to 10 repetitions because compound movements are more conducive to lifting heavy weights anyway. While with isolation exercises, you can train mostly in a 10 to 15 rep range because these single joint movements are more suited towards higher reps. So the question of in what rep range to train is not as simple as maintaining 8 to 12 repetitions on every set. We want to train for both muscle strength and endurance while training close to failure for the best results. I hope today's video gave you some practical examples on how to organize your training and use different rep ranges. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you found this video helpful, then leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next one.